こんばんは. Yeah, so I'm back in Melbourne. I left Tokyo yesterday. And yeah, kind of sad. But definitely be heading back end of the year. So until then, I'll still be posting videos. So today's topic, I thought I would share some dating advice because I have been um, going on a couple of dates when I was in Tokyo, and actually I was seeing, I mean, there's this one guy that I like. Well, I still like him, but yeah, it's just this has been a recent experience, which is why I was suddenly inspired to do this video to help out other women or even men who were in or who are in this current situation as I am. So I liked this guy. I mean, I actually met him when I was in Tokyo last year, and we kept in touch. We only saw each other once the last year, and we kept in touch since then and up till my recent trip back to Tokyo. We met up again. And yeah, I realized I really like him. I mean, I like spending time with him more than, I had fun. Comparatively, much more fun than the rest of the dates that I had. And yeah, the weird thing was, after we met up on my last trip, we said that we would meet up again. But turns out, when I tried to get a hold of him when I asked him, okay, so when are you free, right? Like my schedule is pretty flexible here, so when you have time, just let me know and we'll meet up again. And he ended up not getting back to me. Yeah. Yeah. And even after I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm actually leaving pretty soon, in a couple of days. If you've got, I really want to see you. So if you've got time, if you don't have time, I totally understand, but at least let me know, yeah? Because he wasn't replying me at all. Like, nada. Nothing. And yeah, so I was pretty frustrated over that for a couple of days. And it got me thinking about a lot of things. And the thing is, this isn't the first time that this has happened to me. Like, when I say this, I mean how the guy would just suddenly go cold or not reply to messages out of the blue, right? Even though you guys were fine before that. Like, you guys were exchanging messages frequently and he was replying relatively fast, and you were doing the same, yada, yada, yada. Whatever it is, it's just this kind of out of the blue situation, right? Where he goes cold on you, where the guy would just not reply you, not read your messages. Yeah, basically that. Or his messages are getting shorter or getting less. And as single women, I'm sure we've all had experiences like this, right? Which is why I thought I would just share my thoughts and reflections on how you can perceive the situation in a different way so that it doesn't affect your confidence and the way you see yourself, right? Now, usually when we get ignored, we naturally tend to think that we're the ones at fault, right? That we did or said something wrong, and we start to delusion ourselves to think that we could have done something better or said something better, or we could start getting worried that, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough, or that we're not likable enough as a potential romantic interest. And that's all normal, right? It's just human nature to doubt ourselves, when we get when we start to feel like we are getting rejected as a person. And we'll all the common thoughts would be, oh, I guess he hates me now, right? Or or yeah, he's probably just tired of me, or maybe he's angry at something that I said. Did I say something to turn him off? Or did he find someone better? Yeah, I'm sure we've all had experiences like that. And especially when he just disappears without giving you any explanation whatsoever. And that not knowing part, the part where there's no explanation for it, that's when it all starts to go downhill for us, because we would start to come up with all sorts of assumptions to explain the situation ourselves, which usually stems from our insecurities, thus making us feel bad about ourselves, right? So, right. The first step to overcoming this is very, very simple, is to not blame yourself. That is the most important thing that I want to start off with. Also, you shouldn't blame him either. You shouldn't blame the guy. Because most likely he's not a bad guy, right? Otherwise you wouldn't like him in the first place. And it's just that we have to realize that men and women do think differently. And once you can be aware of that, you can actually be free of a lot of the anxiety that you feel around relationships. You feel when you're in relationships or when you're dating, right? So men are known to be good at monotasking, where they can focus like really focus one thing at a time, right? Whereas women, we are good at multitasking. Where you can imagine like a mom trying to refer to a recipe while they cook, while they still catch up on the news on TV, and at the same time they're probably yelling at their kids to, hey, finish your homework, before dinner. And it's like that saying, where men's brains are like waffles. So there's like different sections or boxes for everything. So one section for work, one section for cars, one section for paying the bills, one section for sex, one section for like one little tiny section for emotions, right, and feelings. the feelings box. Whereas for women, we are more like spaghettis, right? So everything's just mixed together in one huge mess. And like everything is connected to one another, which is why when couples argue, like the girl usually is the one who can bring up all sorts of past events to attack the guy with, whereas the guy is usually just left like stunned and speechless, usually, because he's just focusing on solving the fight, right? So he's just accessing one section, and it's hard for him to pick up stuff from different sections while arguing. So, which I find really funny, but anyway, this is why we as women tend to be able to worry about the relationship more than guys, especially throughout the day, right? We tend to be able to go to work, but still wonder or think about our partners while at work, or think about our children while still at work, or think about, what we're going to cook for dinner tonight, Whereas for guys, when they're at work, they're most probably just thinking about work. Yeah, when they're hungry, they think about food. When they want to sleep or when they feel tired, then they think about going to bed. Yeah, so in relation to that, let's most likely he has other things to worry about in his life besides you. He could be work, could be friends, could be family problems. And because of all this, he could be feeling a bit down, maybe a loss of confidence. And for women, when we feel down, we tend to turn to our close ones, to people around us, for advice or for comfort, in order to share our feelings, to vent our frustrations, so that we feel better. That's how I feel better, right? But for a lot of men, they have never actually had that sort of practice of sharing feelings. And even if they do meet up with friends, they probably don't tend to express their emotions a lot. And most of the time, they either just distract themselves with alcohol, talk about empty stuff, right? Like stuff that basically just not involve feelings. Or they play games, right? To distract themselves. And of course, as women, we feel like, of course, they should come to us for comfort, right? I mean, that's what partners are for. As we would be as women, to go to them for comfort or for support when we are feeling down or troubled. But if you think about it, technically speaking, it's usually okay or acceptable for women to turn to people or our partners for advice or comfort when we're weak, when we're feeling weak. And this sort of behavior is even, you could say it's even welcomed by men, because they can step up and help you out, right, as a man. But for a man to admit that, if you put it the other way around, for a man to admit that they're weak, yeah. So you can see it's a bit difficult for him to face you when he's in that troubled state, when he has a lot of things to worry about. And it's kind of difficult for him to get into that romantic mode and to think about you and the relationship. And in a sense, if the problem that he's having remains unsolved, or that feeling of discomfort remains unsolved within him, they usually don't want to show that to you because, yeah, deep down they're feeling weak as a man. And the second reason, or the second explanation that I have, which might cause this kind of behavior, is that they could be guarding their hearts. They could be afraid of you getting too close to them, because they might have been hurt in the past, hurt really badly in the past. And of course, this is also dependent on the guy, how he's been brought up, what kind of experiences he's had growing up. Could be affected by a lot of his past relationships. Could be bad breakups, past rejections, even rejection from friends, from coworkers, even from his own mother, as a child. You never know. And yeah, so once they feel like you're starting to get too close, especially when you're still in the early stages of dating, and you're still in the getting to know each other part, once he starts to feel like, oh, she's getting a bit too close to me, and the risk of you being able to hurt him, like how he has been hurt in the past, he feels like that risk is getting higher and higher. That's when he starts to close up, right? It's like a self-defense mechanism. Sorry. And also, I feel like with men, they tend to have the tendency to want to put on their best selves in front of you, especially on the first or second date, when uh, they want you to really like them as guy. They have to they feel like they have to hide certain parts of themselves or suppress certain parts of themselves in order to be that perfect self for you, so that you'll be attracted to them as a person. Um, and it's kind of mentally draining for them, I would imagine. There's also a high possibility that he could just be really, really confused about where he stands with you or how he feels about you in general. Especially, and this holds especially true if you, as the woman, felt like you guys had a really good connection, like a good, strong connection at the start, and have probably been subconsciously trying not to show too much interest in hopes of, scaring them away. And consequently, even though they might have liked you, like they might have really felt the same strong connection like you at the beginning, they'll find you harder to read because of your subconscious behavior and start to get confused themselves. And once they realize how this is sort of affecting their daily lifestyle, they would realize that you're able to reject them once again, like how they've been rejected in the past, right? Once they realize this, boom, they close up. Instead of choosing to face these feelings and think about these emotions, like how women usually do, they choose to avoid it completely so that they can function better in society or in other areas in their lives which they are prioritizing. Yeah, to close this off, now, how do we deal with this, right? Even knowing all the real reasons why men distance themselves from us, you would probably ask yourself, so what do I do? Well, it's very simple, for me at least. The best way is to just leave it. Don't fight back. Because if you attack him personally, or if you feel the need to question him by saying things like, why are you not replying me? What's wrong with you? Did I say something wrong? Like, why are you angry at me? It tends to make him feel even more guilty than he probably already is. And just doesn't really help the situation that much. Probably even makes it worse. And I know we are all tempted to do that sort of thing, if we want. I mean, especially in our day and age, so used to instant validation. Once we feel like we don't know something, we really, really want to know why. Like, why are you acting this way? Is it me or is it something else? I need to know, right? Which would cause us to want to vent out on him in order to find out the reason. But yeah, it's not so simple, right? He probably doesn't even know it himself. So by you attacking him doesn't make things any easier for him. But again, I have to state this, the most important thing, the first thing that you have to start off with in how you perceive the situation is just to not blame yourself, okay? And to know that it's not your fault. And that men and women think differently, right? And we should all definitely have confidence in our own likability as a person and our charm. And believe in our value that we bring to the relationship. Because if you can do that, then it's easy for you to just leave it, right? Yeah, guys need time to figure things out. And in the meantime, you can still go on with your lives, focus on yourself. And if you really feel like you need to vent, you can do it with your friends or your family. But all in all, just in regards to how you face him, just leave it. And yeah. And if you really, 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 really want to get in contact with him, I guess you can send him some support messages so that he knows that you're not angry. And so that he can, when he does realize that, hey, he really does like you, once he solves the problems that he has in the other areas of his life, and realize, hey, I really still like this girl, then at least you give him easy access to get back to you, right? Knowing that you have no bad feelings towards him. So you can probably send him a message saying things like, hey, is everything okay? I know you're probably busy. I know you're probably busy with work and stuff. And it's okay. But if you ever do want to hang out again, just let me know. And yeah, it's just simple. It's just that simple. So I guess that's it for today. It's kind of a long video, I suppose. And I know it's kind of all over the place, but I hope I got my message across. That's the most important thing. And I'll try to be better and more organized, definitely, in the next video. But yeah, I'm quite liking this. Sort of serves as a reminder for myself too, because I tend to forget, even though this has happened multiple times to me. So, yep, that's it for today. Hope you look forward to the next video, and hope you also found this useful. Till then, oyasumi nasai. See ya.